All right, everybody, we're going to get started with our Slice app training for Safekeeping Memorial Solutions. My name is Bobby Johnson, Regional Director. Thanks for coming in. Welcome, everybody that is on our training. So as you log in on your Senior Life app, the Slice app, you want to use the number that the agency has given you. Would be your agent number, and the password is going to be the last four of your Social Security number. Once you log in, it will download everything that needs to be downloaded, all the updates, everything. You will periodically get emails from home office that you need to reinstall it. Might not have to delete it, but you might have to reinstall it because they are evolutionizing every day and changing this thing for the better every day. So we're going to get started with the first process of this thing is the application. So after you're in a house, you get to the application point, you open up your iPad, you're literally going to click application. You're going to see where it says first name, last name, date of birth, gender. You're literally going to fill everything in. All right, this is a big thing right here. What is the owner's relationship to the insured? You want to make sure if the insured is the same person, it's always going to be self. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now, if somebody is getting a policy for somebody else, you're going to make sure you know their relationship to that person. So obviously, for training purposes, we are going to use self. What is this? What city are you currently in? As you're sitting in that home or on the phone, you put down, if you're on the phone with somebody in another state, you're licensed in that state, you put where they are. Okay? So say you're sitting in their house in Reading, Pennsylvania. That's where I'm at. What state are you in? Obviously, if it's Reading, Pennsylvania, it's Pennsylvania. So now we're going to go on to screen number 2. This thing is always going to walk you through from opening the thing to end of policy. As you can see here, it says adults insured must answer health questions signed regardless of plan type, relationship of owner. Pretty self-explanatory. Good business, practice good business practices. All right. I like to say this is the most obvious question on the Slice app. If you're actually sitting with somebody and you say, are you currently hospitalized or in a nursing facility? If you're sitting in a hospital or nursing facility, you know this answer. If they're not and you're sitting in your house, you know this answer. But ask it anyway. It kind of makes them laugh. All right. So here's the big thing with this Slice app. This screen right here, I call it the killer screen. This can make or break your policy on where it is going to be from super preferred or graded or to guaranteed. What Senior Life wants to know when they ask these questions, have you been hospitalized 2 or more times in the past 6 months? I've had people say yes, and I asked them, what was it for? You need to make sure it was something major, heart, something in their blood, something major, knee replacement, hip replacement, stomach ulcers, constipation is not major. You want to make sure that it is major. So if it's not major, it is going to be a no. As you can see, this Slice app is going to keep asking you these questions 6 months, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. There is a reason it is asking you these time frames, which I'm going to go over when we get to the policy section. Okay. We are also underwriters, being with Senior Life Insurance Company. So you always want to ask them this, all right? Do you have any serious health issues? It's going to be, you're just going to say heart, lung, kidney, circulatory, or liver. If they say yes to something, this is where it gets kind of tricky, and this is where you have to be kind of like an investigator. You need to find out if they're saying yes to a lung problem. You need to find out before we go on to the next screen what their lung problem is. If it's COPD, if it's just asthma, if it's, emphysema, COPD, chronic bronchitis is all going to be a modified policy, so you can click yes. If they say they have a lung problem and they just have asthma, it's going to be a no. Remember, with this Slice app, we write them off of their prescriptions. So heart problems as well, if they have a defibrillator in there, obviously it's going to be yes. If they have congestive heart failure, obviously it's going to be yes. If they are on a blood thinner, obviously circulatory is going to be on there. Just a key, something to keep in mind when you go see people, and you will see a lot of people with this business. If you see a person older age and has tattoos, and you look at their tattoos if they're on their arm, you don't have to make them, let them show you all their tattoos. If you see their visible tattoos and they are very bright in color, and they look risen, what I want you to do is instantly in your head is I want you to say, okay, they could very well be on a blood thinner, because blood thinners make your stuff like that. So that's something to be very much aware of during, your process of writing the Slice app. So for training purposes, I'm going to hit no for all these questions because I want to show everybody every single policy. All right. Big one here. Have you ever been diagnosed with cancer or have a stroke? If they say yes, you need to find out what the time frame was. If they are cancer-free, they are on no medications for that specific cancer. What I mean by medications is they have brands of pills that are chemo maintenance pills, we'll say. If they are not on chemo maintenance pills, you need to find out when the last time they were on any type of thing like that. So for this training purposes, I'll go through them, but I will, where I'm going to go to no, but I'll show you what happens when you click yes. It's going to ask 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Now, obviously, if all this is yes, you can go right back up top and hit no, right? Now, they said 5 years, 10 years. This is where I'm going to show you when we get to our policy where this plays into effect. Smoking, plain and simple. Do you use any form of tobacco or nicotine? You are an underwriter, the best of your ability. If they're not smoking in front of you, you don't see anything around and they tell you no, well, we're obviously being with Senior Life. The best part about us is we do not put cotton swabs in people's mouths. We do not send them to the doctor. So if they're going to tell you yes or no, it's yes or no. So answer that question to the best of your ability. For training purposes, everything I'm going to do yes, but then it's going to go no, so I can show everybody, again, all the policies that we do have. So as you see, yes, nothing changes on the screen. It stays the same. So now I'm going to click no. Here it's going to ask you, in the past 12 months, any form of tobacco. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to screen them for up to 10 years. 5 years, 10 years. I'll be honest with you, everybody has had a higher blood pressure reading at some point in their life of 135 over 85. So just do the 10-year tobacco question. So I've answered no for all that, okay? So now we're going to go on to the next screen. Height and weight. This is where it gets tricky. I do believe this is where most of the questions are going to align, so I am going to spend a good amount of time right here on this screen. Height and weight. You want to try and be as accurate as you can with height and weight. If you have any other questions regarding height and weight, please contact your manager or your upline. Height and weight. I'm a short guy, so I'm going to put, that sounds right. All right. Does the proposed take any medication? Proposed insured. Remember, Senior Life writes off of medication. We do not pull a background medical check, as in doctor records, for a whole life policy. The term stuff we do, but I'm going to get into that when we get to that screen next. So say they're sitting down with somebody and they are on some medications. You're going to click yes. This is how easy, and the steps that this Slice app is perfect. So you're able to click on here, right? You'll see all these medications known to man in the Slice app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write somebody with asthma. I'm also going to write somebody with high cholesterol and on a blood pressure pill. With asthma, you have to watch when you put an asthma medication in here and make sure you click asthma. There is different, they use asthma medications for COPD. If a client tells you, well, the doctor told me I have COPD. All right. So instantly you're going to think, okay, this client's going to be modified, which is okay. It's just a different type of policy. They're still going to get coverage. You need to ask them what medication they're on. If they tell you just albuterol, I'm going to show you a little trick here. They're on albuterol, and that's the only thing that they have been on for COPD. Albuterol is a doctor prescribed asthma inhaler as needed. So watch this. You click on albuterol. Look at those uses on here. COPD, emphysema, asthma, lung disease. So if they tell you they have COPD and they're only on albuterol, do yourself a favor and hit asthma, because they do not have COPD. If they have COPD, they're either one, going to be on oxygen, two, they're going to be on inhalers that have ellipta attached to the end of them, which is big because there's so many. You have Spiriva. Regular Spiriva is used for asthma. Spiriva ellipta is used for COPD. You have Trilogy ellipta, Aurora ellipta. If they have ellipta on the end of them, no matter what, it is COPD. This one does not, because it is albuterol. So now we're going to go into, I said cholesterol. Everybody, the demographic, the ages that we're going to see, they all are on some type of cholesterol, blood pressure pill, diabetes, you name it, they're on. So we're going to do a torvastatin. If you see a medication, you're going to ask them, Mr. Jones, can you please grab me your medications? They're either going to hand you a list or hand you a bunch of pill bottles. If something is not on here that you type in, I'll show you how to go around that, or not around that, but how to input that. You also want to take your phone out and Google it. What I mean by Google, put it in by Google and find out what it is. There is HIV medications that are not on here, that if they show up, the policy will get kicked back. There's some blood pressure medicines. They got some new stuff out. It's not on here. There's also, I do believe, they're working on some other things as well. Antibiotics, we are not worried about. If there's an antibiotic, we're not worried about it. You do not have to put it in. Painkillers, if they've had back surgeries or in a car accident, stuff for pain management, if they're on multiple pills, you need to put those in. If they're on just one, you do not. So we're going to put a torvastatin. Anything that has statin on the end of it is a cholesterol med. It says cholesterol. As you can see, it literally tells you what this medication is used for. So now we're going to go to a blood pressure pill. Very common one right here. You don't have to spell out the whole entire thing. As you can see, I'm looking for lisinopril. I just put LI. It come right up. It's the second one from the top. You click on it. All right. This is where, again, being an agent and an underwriter with Senior Life Insurance Company, you have to ask them, is it used for a heart condition or a high blood pressure? They're going to tell you high blood pressure. hopefully. A lot of meds have multiple uses. That's why you need to find out what they're used for. So let's say they have something that's not listed. Very simple, not listed. What you're going to do is you're literally going to ask them, okay, what is this used for? It's just after you Google it and you see what it's used for, but you still want to put it in, but you want to ask them to make sure they're being truthful with you. Because believe me, if they're not and something pops up, you're going to get an email and you're going to have to call the person and tell them something came up, we need to rewrite you. So as you can see, everything that goes on with the human body is in here. From fever to fibromyalgia, to gout, to heart, heartburn, HIV. You see that. So let's just do inflammation. All right. So an inflammation med. I've never put an inflammation med, but it's just for training. So say that whatever they're on is for inflammation and it's not there. Very, very simple. You're going to hit the request exception button. Type the medication in right here. Easy. Request exception. As you can see, it says inflammation and the medication. It is going to write them off of that condition that they're on for. Not the med, the condition. So you want it, again, remember, we write everybody off of medications. So I'm going to say before I get to the next screen, Mr. Johnson, is this all you have ever taken in the last 10 years? There's a reason why I'm asking that question. So we're going to move on here. Actually, we're going to back up because I don't like what that says. Trying to get all the policies on here as I can for everybody. So just bear with me for a second. All right, perfect. All right, this is where you need to take some notes. Your upline should actually have told you about this if you're already out writing business. There's a couple policies on here that we would like you not to write. The reason being is the commission is a little lower than what you're used to if you write these policies, so we're trying to help you get some money. So we want you to stay away from Ultimate Preferred. Do not write it. Do not write Ultimate Preferred. The next one we don't want you to write is the return of premium 20-year term life. If you do not have to, do not write it. There's a magic word in there. It says term. When it says term, they're going to pull everything, all medical records, all that. So you want to stay away from anything that has term on it. It takes a while to get back, and the commission rate on the term is a little lower than what you're used to. And like I said, it takes a while to get paid on. 20-year standard pay whole life, if you can, stay away from that. And you also do not want to write easy issue whole life. So the policies that you want to write are super preferred, preferred whole life, standard whole life, modified whole life, and guaranteed issue whole life. Now, remember this. This is huge. When you're getting prescriptions from people, okay, you want to ask them, when I said about the 10-year question, I want you to write down on your pieces of paper, super preferred equals 10 years. Super preferred equals 10 years. Preferred equals 5 years. Preferred equals 5. Standard whole life equals 2. Standard is 2. Modified equals none, N-O-N-E. Guaranteed issue whole life equals none, N-O-N-E. There's a reason why I said to write this down. So, if I run into a situation where, Mr. Johnson, have you been on any other medications other than what you told me in the past 10 years? Yes. I was on a blood thinner 6 years ago. Okay. When's the last time you filled this blood thinner? 6 years ago. Okay. So therefore, that is instantly going to disqualify them from super preferred. And they are not on it currently and haven't filled it for 5 years. So we look, when you go to preferred, the prescription history only gets pulled for those specific years. Super preferred, we're looking 10 years prescription history. Preferred, we're looking 5. Standard, we're looking at 2. So if they were on a blood thinner 6 years ago, we're going to write them preferred whole life. Now, modified and guaranteed issue. Modified whole life is already a limited benefit where they need to, they put on a waiting period for 2 years, but they pay into the policy for 2 years. After year number 1, they get 10% back all their premiums, or they get all their premiums back plus 10%, I'm sorry. Second year is all their premiums back plus 20%. And then after that second year, they are going to get back 100% of that policy. Guaranteed issue, I typically use for HIV patients, people with congestive heart failure, anything super, super, super major. That is a 3-year wait. It works the same way for the modified, just an extra year longer. You want to, as best to your ability, try to get your clients day 1 coverage. Now, they can't because of medical issues. That's understandable. So you want day 1 coverage policies are as follows. You have super preferred, that one. You have preferred whole life, standard whole life. Those are our 3 day 1 coverage policies. What I mean by day 1 coverage policies, if they start, as soon as they start that policy, either writing you a check, either bank draft, that day where that bank draft goes through, that check goes through, which is that day because you get paid that day. And I'll show you how to do all that as well. That is on the slice app. Their policy is actually going to start. So what I mean by start is it's going to issue. If something were to happen to them the very next day, obviously Senior Life is going to look into the 2-year period. They're just going to look at their stuff a little hard, and then they're going to pay them out because it is issued. If they're 100% clean and clear, didn't lie to you about anything, they're going to get paid. This is where, again, your job as an underwriter is to the best of your ability to make sure the clients have, spoken to you the truth about their medications. Didn't hide nothing from you. That way they get paid and their family gets paid and they're taken care of. So we're going to move on to the quote screen. With this Slice app, you do not have to do any math whatsoever. If you can subtract 4, you're good to go. So this is what I like to call, when I'm at home, I use this as a cheat sheet. Yes, I've been in this business and writing Senior Life for quite a while, and I still use it. As you can see, you scroll down, it literally has everything on there about that policy. So I just remind them what type of policy they're getting. Permanent whole life protection, immediate benefit if they are getting one of those three policies, the preferred, super preferred, or standard. I also let them know about the accidental death benefit rider. How that works is if they get a $10,000 policy and they pass away via accident, they're going to get double that. They're going to get $20,000 instead of 10. You'll see that on the quote screen. You'll be able to explain that to them that way, a visual, that way they can see what they're going to get. Also, what you really want to hound and hammer is premiums. Premiums do not increase. Benefits do not decrease. How I go about telling them that is, Mr. Johnson, if anything were to happen to you, heart attack, cancer, by God, you get anything, major. I'm not going to call you, Senior Life's not going to call you and say, hey, your premium is going to go up and your benefit's going to decrease because you have something health going on. It will not go up with age. Whatever you lock in at 37 or 55 or whatever is going to be the same at 85, 90. Now, mind you, as an agent, you should know your state's laws. We cannot write, I know I'm in Pennsylvania, we cannot write over the age of 85. If they're 85 years older, we cannot write that. Another big one here is this one. I don't know why my screen is doing that. Senior Life cannot cancel the policy for any reason, except for non-payment of premiums, which your manager will be able to go over on how you can keep track if they're making their payments or not. Each policy, a whole life policy, builds cash value and loan value. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you explain that to them. And after year number 2, your policy is going to accrue cash value. You're also going to explain to them at this time the automatic premium loan provision. What that is if they are paying on a policy, say for 5 years, they have some cash value. Say they fall on hard times, just like, unfortunately, the country is going through right now. Some people are having issues coming up with some financial issues, and they're not able to make their payment. I already had a couple clients already call me and say, hey, can I use the automatic premium loan provision? What that does is that takes the cash value that they have in that policy and pays their monthly premiums for them, so that way that policy does not lapse. You want to explain that to them. You say, we're going to do that extra for our clients. Make it Senior Life thing. Big one, no medical exam. You're going to tell them, hey, what we just did with your medications, and I asked you some, quick questions. There'll be a little bit more questions. That is it. I'm not sending you to the doctor. I'm not going to have a nurse come to your house, anything like that. And also, we pay most claims within 24 hours of receipt of all necessary paperwork. What that does is that is not the death certificate. We are paying off of proof of passing. Proof of passing is when that, unfortunately, loved one is at the funeral home. The funeral home talks to Senior Life and Legacy, which, that will go, that's another day of training. Once they talk to Legacy and they know proof of passing, Senior Life is going to get that proof of passing, and they're going to be able to pay out and cut a check. Legacy reminder, that is a different day. So please make sure you attend that day to get more information on Legacy. We're going to roll on with Slice App only today. All right, English and Spanish. I do see some Spanish agents on here. If you are running into people that are having a lot of questions about Legacy, or you really want to just put a more emphasis on your sale, play the video. It's only 4 minutes long. It's a very good video. There's an English and a Spanish version. I am not going to play it for training. Remember what I told you about no math? It's literally no math. This thing does it for you. As you can see, you have 3 options on your screen. What I typically do with my sale is I'm not afraid to be, this is what I tell them. Uh, Mr. Johnson, we just generated, we got you approved. There's 3 options on this screen for you. If none of these options work for you, if you want something higher, you want something in between, or you want something lower, that's okay. We have tons of options for you. Now, you're probably thinking, where do you see all these other options? If you click on where it says custom, it's going to be like a pinwheel. It's going to be just like your Price is Right type deal. Look at that. So say Mr. Johnson, he wants something between $60 and $70. So we're giving them this iPad at this time. We're having this custom wheel open. We hand it to them. Okay, I want you to pick what's affordable for you and what benefit you think is going to help your family out the best. You're giving them the power to choose what they want. You're not shoving numbers in their face. So what I typically do is I turn it to them. I say, hey, look, and you explain, what's on their screen about their options. About the 6, let's just go with the 25,000 for an example. It says 25,000 natural, 25,000 accidental. Explain that to them. No, you're not. You're going to get both amounts if you pass away in an accident. So you're going to get $50,000 if you unfortunately pass away in a car accident. So let's just say Mr. Johnson wants $20,000 in coverage. That's right in his budget, between $60 and $70. He picks $20,000. Just because it's highlighted on this thing right here doesn't mean it is selected. So you have to go on there, make sure you hit done, and it pulls up as the custom policy. So when it pulls up the custom policy, you want to make sure you hit select. Also, before you leave this screen, you want to make sure this right here is checkmarked. This includes Legacy. Legacy is a $4 membership that is attached to their policy. It is included. It is a separate entity, but it is included. The only time we're ever going to separate it is when we get to the banking screen, and I will show you that. You always want to make sure accidental is checked, right? Accidental is literally like $3. You always want to make sure that's checked. Make sure they get that accidental policy. So everything is selected here. So now you want to go to the next screen. Anything with a asterisk, that little star on there, must be filled out. Must be filled out. You must click on it. I'm literally going to fill out every single thing on here. And when we're done with each section, you're going to see a little yellow check mark explaining to you that is done. So we're going to go into the proposed insured. None. Social security number, put their social in. Yeah. 11. Their address. Their city. Obviously their state. Now, if you fill all this stuff out, you will only have to fill out their address one time. Everything is going to carry over to the next screen, so you're not wasting multiple time, a lot of time. Telephone number. Email address. If they don't have an email address, it is okay. Just put none@gmail.com. Now, as you can see from the other screens, it already has their date of birth, their obviously male, their height, their weight, the state that they're in, right? So now that's all filled out. Everything with that star is filled out. Now I'm going to go to the next screen. You see where this check mark is. That means that section is properly done. So now we're going to go to policy owner. Even if there is not a policy owner, if it's a self person, you still must go in there. As you can see, the one thing that is not filled out is the mother's maiden name. Obviously, you want to put that in there. You can put the last name in there. As you can see, everything is filled out with this asterisk. We're going to go to done. Look, another check mark. Completed. All right, big one. Primary beneficiaries. Pretty self-explanatory. First name, their relationship. Make sure you put the relationship in there, and if they have a suffix, you can just leave it none. You do not have to put a telephone number down. If you want to put their telephone number down, you can. You can also use that as a referral. If they have more than one primary beneficiary, all you have to do is hit the plus mark. First name, last name, same thing. And obviously, when you hit the plus mark, it's going to take the percentage down to 50%. So there'll be 2 checks issued instead of 1. So for training purposes, we're going to use 1 primary. So the primary is filled out. We're going to go to done. Check mark, completed. Even if there is no secondary beneficiaries, you're still going to see a little asterisk on there. You got to go in there. If there is no secondary beneficiary, it's going to ask you make a state secondary beneficiary. You must hit yes. If there is a secondary beneficiary, if you hit no, same thing comes up. State rules are different. Sometimes if you make it, I don't know what Texas or New Jersey is like. I know what PA is, but if we make our estate secondary beneficiary, if they have no secondary, it is taxable then. If there is a secondary beneficiary, it is not taxable. Contact your manager for that information. So for this training purposes, we're going to make it yes. Going to go to the next screen. As you can see, the check mark is there. Existing policies for proposed insured, you must go into this one. Obviously, we want to make sure that they are aware that they are getting the automatic premium loan provision. Remember I talked about that with the cash value? You want to make sure that's a yes. Do you have any existing life insurance policies or annuity contracts? If you are replacing something, you can put that in there. But it does take longer for the company to replace it if the client calls and cancels their other policy because, one, we have something better for them, or it's going to benefit them this way more, they can do that. You do not have to put yes. Annuity contracts, Senior Life really is not worried about annuity contracts. So for all intents and purposes, you can more than likely check no. But if they do and they want us to replace it, make sure you make them aware that it's going to take longer and that other insurance company might pull out their payment unless they call and they stop their bank draft. If they are replacing a policy, as you can see, there is a bunch of companies on here. Here's a big one, Colonial Penn. You want to do this. I'm doing this like we're replacing something. Name of company, Colonial Penn. Will this, the question, replace, discontinue, to change? Yes, we are replacing it. It's going to ask for a reason why we're replacing it. Are we using funds from that policy? And that's going to be a no. If they have the policy number, it would be best for them to put that in there, or you to put that in there. If you do not have it, that is okay. Now, as you can see, everything is checkmarked. Even the very bottom of that screen where it says policy information is checkmarked. Now we're moving to face amount details. Obviously, we already did that. That's checkmarked. That's when they pick their policy. Legacy household members. Every time they put a legacy household member on here, they're going to get a 25-hour store credit. You're going to, if you add a member to legacy, it's kind of hard to do it when you're training because it won't let me do certain things. When you add somebody, you're going to click yes. You're going to put their name in, their last name, and if they're adding another member. I will show you at the end when I go back where there's going to be a section under construction about legacy members and about creating a policy for them. So this, if you're in a household of husband and wife, I would write, let's say the wife, ladies first, put the husband in there, and then write the husband, go in and create a policy, which I will show you how to do. But for this purposes, I'm going to click no. If you have any questions on that, I will answer them after the training here. So now we're going to health information. Here are the health questions. Ask them. Contact your manager if you have any other questions about them. Ask them the questions. For all intents and purposes, I'm going to go no. And now let's just say I am asking them. And I get down to this question. This question is a doozy. In the past 10 years, have you had any of these symptoms? Let's say they answer yes. Before you click yes, make sure you understand what they asked. Because if they're not on a medication for something like that, you need to make sure you pry a little bit and say, okay, why are you answering yes now? Did you miss something? So let's say, all right, they said yes to something like that on here. Watch what this Slice app does. So that super preferred policy, we just trying to write on them, they're no longer going to qualify for that. It is going to kick you back to write a new plan for them. So you're going to be able to pick, exactly what plan they're supposed to get. So as you can see, this Slice app literally will hold your hand to make sure it is done correctly. Training purposes, we're going no. The questions here again, please make sure you ask them. Physicians and medications for proposed insured. Well, we already did medications. We deemed that we weren't on any for training. Now you always want to put their facility, their doctor's name in here. If it's a whole life policy, all we need is the name and the city. If you have to write a term policy, they need everything. And make sure there's a primary care doctor, not a knee surgeon, none of that. I need primary care doctor only. If they don't have a doctor, just put the nearest hospital on. All right, that's filled in. As you can see, anything that had a star is filled in. Bear with me for just a second. All right. Here as it gets a little tricky. If somebody is paying their own policy, this question is a yes. If their dad, their son, their daughter, their neighbor, their brother, whoever, anybody who is not, if it's not the proposed insured, it's going to be a no. You will have to put that person's information in. Is it payer? For training purposes, we're going with a yes. It's the same person. You have two options to accept payment on the Slice app. And this is very important. The only time we want anybody taking credit cards as payments is if it is a direct express, if it is a government card that their benefits go on, and it does not have a routing or account number. You want to make sure that is what it is. If that card has a routing account number on, you want to go to bank service plan. The reason why I'm telling you that is because if they do by credit card, it's paid as earned. You will not get the 9-month advance. If they have a routing and account number and they're using a bank plan, you're going to get advance 9 months. All right. Here's a little notice for you. Please exclude the monthly legacy amount when writing the check. If they write you a check, this is where you're going to subtract $4, and I'm going to explain that here again. All right, as you can see, all the information that we put in as we were moving along transferred over, so we're not going to have to do it again. The only thing we're going to have to do on this screen is the name on their account, their bank name, their routing number. This is a trading routing number. It will tell you if the routing number is invalid. The account number. All right. Account type, checking. Payment mode, we always want to do monthly. You always want to do monthly. All right, collecting live check. This is the greatest thing about this Slice app. You can get paid the same day. If you have business submitted by 3 o'clock and it is pending, green, on your Slice app, which I will show you, you are going to get paid that day. You're going to be issued a paycheck with money deposited that night or following morning. So when you collect a live check, I did explain about the minus the $4. So say their policy is $54. When they write a check out, this is only when a live check is being collected. You want to subtract $4. So they want to write a check out for Senior Life Insurance Company and for $50. I'm going to show you. All right. I'll show you what this camera does. I don't know if it's going to do it or not, but we'll see. Once they write that out, they're going to put today's date on it. Even if, here's a trick that I was taught, even if they're post-dating, say they don't want to start it till the 15th of the month, right? We can only go 7 days right now. We can't go 30. We used to be able to go 30. But due to what's going on, we can only go 7 days. So if they want to make this for 7 days later, they can write you a live check for 7 days later. Make sure they put that date on there and make sure you put 7 days later on the initial withdrawal date. If you're collecting a live check, so let's see what this does here. Oh, it did do it. Fantastic. So they're going to write a check out. You're going to place the check down like so. You're going to make sure it is center on your screen. And you're going to take a picture of it. Now, what you mainly want to look for in this screen is you want to look to make sure that that check is in that white box. If that check is in that white box, you are good to go. As you can see, there's a photo tagged into that. And it instantly showed up May 4th. Now, again, if they write that check out for, let's say, the 7th, you want to make sure you put the 7th on there. Future withdrawal date. This is where you need to ask them, all right, Mr. Johnson, besides today or the 7th when you start your policy, What is the best time of the month for your policy to come out each and every month? We have this program intact so that your policy doesn't lapse. So you don't have to worry about it. It's ready to come out and everything is 100% secure. So what date fits you the most? So you're going to tell him 1st, 3rd, 5th, 10th, 15th, 25th. Let's just say he likes the 10th. 10. So now you see all that is completed. But something is wrong. As you can see, there's no next up top of the thing. So something is wrong, and I did this on purpose. So let's see what is wrong. Why will it let me not go forward? Well, it's not that. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, there's next. Just take a picture. It's the picture because it's not a check. But that's all right. We're good now. All right. If we're not collecting a live check, obviously you pick the withdrawal date. Live check is instant pay. If it is not a live check, it is going to be like a 3-day wait by the time they verify the bank. Everybody, the funds go through. That is the only problem with not getting a live check. It's okay. You're still going to get paid. Sorry about that, folks. Just changing my screen here a little bit so everybody can see what's going on. So far, we got through the banking information. We got through the medical questions. Now, we're going to move on to the signature portion of our Slice app. This is the fun part. If you've been around insurance business, you know how beautiful this is going to be. No paper. You're literally, if you're sitting there with a client, they're literally going to sign your Slice app, your iPad. If you're doing it on the phone, this is where the telesales is great. So if you're doing telesales, you're going to hit what we say on the recording. You'll hit recording. You'll see these bubbles. You'll hit recording. It's literally going to turn the speaker on to your iPad. You're going to put your phone on speakerphone, and you're literally going to be reading word for word what comes up on this screen. If I go to recording, it will not let me go back, or signature. So we're going to go to signature. You can play around with that, but please do not submit no applications. Your training applications, please do not. If you do, please let your upline know. We can call and get them taken off. So signature, you're going to go to signature, you're going to go to next. The application process is now complete. Please verify all information is collected and accurate to the best of your ability. Proceeding beyond this point will prevent you from making any further changes. So if you're writing them and they're about to sign and they have buyer's withdrawal and you can't close it, or they need to change something, you're going to have to go in and rewrite the whole app because you're not going to be able to go back and rewrite the whole policy. So we're going to move on. Signature. You want to make sure that this box is checked. They're going to sign their name. They're going to hit next. Again, you want to make sure both bubbles are checked. One is about the terms and conditions of the policy and legacy, and that they authorize the payment of $4 a month. Now, I did forget to tell you that when they write a check minus that $4, they're going to see two charges. They're going to see a charge for their premium of $50, and then they're going to see a charge for $4, totaling to $54. So we'll refresh their memory and reassure them that there's not more money being pulled out. It is the same as the quote that was given and what they had signed up. So you want to make sure that they sign it and they're aware of it. You see, it's just chicken scratch. And then you yourself must sign it. Go to next. Oh, look, the paperwork is already done for you. You don't have to write everything down. Everything is already generated from the proposed insured.
Hey, good morning, guys. This is Miguel in Arizona. Did they start it? Did they just start right now, a couple minutes, or am I late?
You were late, and we're doing a recording, so I'll get back to you in just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So, as you can see on the application itself, everything is already filled in. All the health questions are no, no, no. Anything that you did on there, input it on there, transfer it over to this. Even a replacement form. Now you're going to see red boxes. See these red boxes right here? That is where you need to tap. All I'm going to do is tap the screen on that red box. Boom. Signature. Again. They're checking information. Just make sure it's correct. Boom. Signature of pay. Now we're going to go to next. The HIPAA form. Make sure that they, know what they're clicking on. It's just a HIPAA form. This is their replacement form if you're replacing anything. All right. I don't know if Texas or New Jersey has these. I don't believe they do. Pennsylvania, we do. This must be signed. What it does is it's just the annual premium. If you could do this makes it much easier for you Pennsylvania agents. Take a picture of this screen. That way when you send a report to your manager, which, again, reports must be into your manager Thursday night, you have a premium for that policy that you just read, so you don't have to do the math. Very easy. Signature again. We're going to go to next. Application for legacy. You're going to scroll down. Again, red boxes. You're going to check those red boxes all the way down. Make sure every red box is checked. If it is not, it will not let you move on. It will tell you you're missing something. Then we're going to go back to the main application again. Once everything is checked, you're going to go down and click where it says agent signature. And then that's where you're going to hit submit. Submit on the top right of that right corner. I will not hit that because we are training, and I'm not going to send that to home office. So that is the application in itself. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to the home screen. And by doing that, I'm going to hit the little house on the bottom left. Now, say you wrote this application, you got so far after the quote screen, after they pick a quote, it will save that application. If they don't pick a quote, it's not going to save it. So if you want to go in your save applications, you're going to hit under construction. As you can see, I have a couple that are saved here. And I have some that are sent. All right. Under construction, all you have to do is literally tap on it, and it's going to reopen that application. If you need to delete it, You slide it over. Actually, we'll do this. Slide it over and hit delete. It will delete the application. Now, we were talking about when we were on the legacy member screen, how adding legacy members, you could use it as a referral system. They get a $25 gift card sent to them by legacy, not you. If you do add a legacy household member, that name is going to be in that legacy household member spot. Their name is going to be there, and it's going to say create policy. Pay attention, in order for that household application to be sent, this create policy must be a yes, and a policy must be completed, or a no. That has to be checkmarked. If they're not getting a policy themselves, the legacy person is not getting a policy for themselves, it must be no in order for this to send. Now, the Slice app, yes, it does have there's bugs in there. If you have internet on your iPad, like I have cell phone service on mine, where you can get it on a hotspot and that can send. If that does not send in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, best thing to do is make sure you have a good internet connection. Turn off, do not sign out of the Slice app. Turn off your iPad and turn it back on. It is safe. You will not lose it. Once you come back into the Slice app, it's going to send. Some reason it sometimes does that. There's no explanation. Now, the best thing about this Slice app, look at this. You hit notifications and documents. There's the monthly scoop letter. So motivation if you need it. Incentive trips. Quick rates with ADB. That's what you want. If you need to give somebody a quick quote, but I suggest not to do that. Make sure you give a presentation. Your Slice guide for your agents. If you can't reach any of your upline, there's a guide in here. It tells you what you can do and what you cannot do. It'll literally help you out big time. Your senior care brochure, opportunity brochure for recruiting, your Slice address, which is just a video. Watch it if you get a chance. Some notifications, all bunch of rates and video flyers. Everything is in notification and documents. If you just want an extra cheater sheet when you're doing your presentation in the field, you hit field presentation. And here's your presentation guide if you need help. But tomorrow at 10 a.m., presentation will be done by Jay, the director, and Noemi, the founder of Safekeeping. So I would make sure that you attend that. Again, everything is on here as well. I like to call this my other cheat sheet. You hit done. Pending. When you submit an application, all right, this is a small app that I wrote last week. When you go into pending, when you send something, you're going to see three things. You're going to see under review, it's going to be yellow, meaning that the company's looking at them, they're pulling their prescription history, they're assigning a policy number to it. If everything is good, it will turn green. Green means good to go. If you paid in a check, you're getting paid that day as long as it is submitted before 3 p.m. If it's after 3 p.m., it'll roll over to the next business day. If it is red, meaning declined, you will get an email from home office on why they declined it. The reason why Senior Life is going to decline anything is if a medication shows up that was not disclosed. Okay? That is the only time they're going to decline. At that case, you're going to get an email. It's going to tell you why it was declined, what they qualified for, and you would call them or go back and see them and rewrite them. Just say, hey, this showed up. 9 times out of 10, the client's like, oh, I forgot to tell you. And that is it for the Slice app. I am going to unmute. So if anybody has any questions, now is your time to ask.